What if I told you that the knowledge you went to school for years to gain, the knowledge that scientists spend their lives to reach, is innate? That is, you already know it. While Socrates and Meno were trying to define virtue, Meno came up with a question. How could this inquiry be useful? If we know what we are looking for, then the knowledge is unnecessary, because we already know it. And if we do not know what we are looking for, then the knowledge is impossible. The paradox here is that you cannot reach knowledge either because it's useless or unreachable. To solve this paradox, Socrates asked a slave who did not study geometry before, what is the length of the square side that has double the area of a known side square? Surprisingly, after some questions, the slave was able to get the right answer. The length should be equal to the diagonal of the smaller square. But how could the slave figure it out? Well, let us analyze this situation in 3 sentences. 1. At time t1, the slave does not know the answer. 2. At time t2, the slave knows the answer. 3. Between t1 and t2, no one taught the slave the correct answer. Sentence 2 is correct, and sentence 3 appears to be correct as well. Sequentially, sentence 1 must be false, and the slave had actually this knowledge at time t1, but he didn't ever study geometry. So the slave acquired this knowledge not in his life, but before it. This is known as the theory of recollection. It states that the soul is immortal, not like the body. It transmits to another body after the death of the first one. Before this transition, the soul is taught everything, but it forgets all what it has learned when it transmits to the body. Therefore, what you do when you are studying is actually remembering, not acquiring new knowledge. The knowledge is innate in all human beings. But before you throw your textbooks and decide not to study again, let us evaluate Meno's question and the recollection theory. It seems that Meno committed the fallacy of equivocation. There is a difference between having a question without an answer and not having a question at all. The knowledge is impossible only in the second case. But what about the recollection theory? Some can argue that Socrates had led the slave to the answer by his questions, especially that the slave gave a wrong answer before he reached the right one. This makes the third sentence false, and Socrates did actually teach the slave the right answer. The third sentence is wrong for another reason as well. It assumes only 2 possibilities, whether Socrates taught the slave or not. It doesn't allow for other possibilities, like the ability of reasoning. Maybe Socrates' questions led the slave to the right answer with the knowledge he already had, not with direct teaching. But does this mean that there is no innate knowledge at all? In fact, there is. It appears that regardless of culture, age, language, or education level, there is some sort of common knowledge between all people around the world. For example, some concepts like equality, noticing differences, and the even and odd concepts in numbers are all universal, and you do not need to learn them. In addition, it seems that we are born with some abilities, like the ability of reasoning. But what do you think? Is there an innate knowledge, or is all knowledge acquired?